Okay, just to recall a very simple point about rare cancers. They are rare individually, but not collectively. So collectively, they are as many as 20% of all new cancer cases. So one cancer patient, one new cancer patient in 5 has a rare cancer. So we are talking of something which is important not only ethically, because of course all patients need to be treated at best, but also quantitatively. I may add also that the importance of rare cancers today is that you know that with personalized oncology, all tumors are getting rare because they are split up into a lot of subgroups. Clearly, if a patient has lung cancer, he will find a lot of centers dealing with lung cancer, so it's not a problem in terms of organization of health care, which on the other hand exists when we talk about rare cancers, because lung cancer is frequent, a rare cancer is not, so clearly there is a difference in this. But as a matter of fact, when you have a lung cancer of a particular subset, which may be targeted by one drug, okay, then the problems of that subtype of lung cancer are exactly the same as the problem of a single rare cancer in terms of the evidence. So in practice, what is our problem? Our problem is that statistics, medical statistics, but any kind of statistics has to do with numbers. So you require a sufficient number of patients in order to do a clinical study. And when you go to small numbers, to small populations, clearly you have a problem of numbers. Our assumption as Rare Cancers Europe, which is the effort which is ongoing on rare cancers and which produced this document, this consensus paper, our assumption is that rare cancer patients should not be discriminated against just because they have a rare cancer. So, if evidence is more difficult to build on rare cancers by definition because the numbers are small, it follows that we must accept a higher degree of uncertainty about new treatments, for example, on rare cancers. Because if we want the same certainty we want for frequent diseases, we will discriminate rare disease patients, and rare cancers are rare diseases. So this is one of the assumptions which you will find on the website of Rare Cancers Europe. The problem is that uncertainty is important for clinicians making medical decisions. It's important for regulatory bodies, for EMA, for example, when it must approve a new drug, or for a health system when it must decide whether to reimburse a new drug in a rare cancer. So the problem is, are they willing to accept an extra uncertainty when approving a new drug, when reimbursing a new drug, even at times of economic crisis, because we are talking of a rare cancer? This is a question. Of course, we must do our best in order to make sure that the best evidence possible is produced, even on rare cancers. I am a clinical researcher, I am an oncologist, a medical oncologist, I follow sarcomas. In sarcomas, we did several big studies, clinical studies, also on some sarcomas, and Jean-Yves Blay was one of the researchers because he follows sarcomas as well. For example, in GIST, in gastrointestinal stromal tumors, we did some big, large randomized clinical trials, but GIST have an incidence of 1.5 per 100,000 each year. So they are rare, but not that rare as other tumors in which really it's impossible to do a large trial. So the consensus paper basically has to do with what to do if you cannot do something which you can do more easily when the disease is frequent. This is the question. And so there are some suggestions from the statistical point of view, from the methodological point of view, and also the idea that collecting all pieces of evidence is fundamental, is essential. So even case reports, even anecdotal observations, even retrospective case series analysis, so something which wouldn't make up a high-level evidence should be valued and exploited in rare cancers. And we also talk about Bayesian approaches. Bayesian approaches are based on the Bayes theorem of the probability theory, which is a very simple theorem, which simply says that if you want to calculate a posterior probability, you must use the prior probability. For example, if you want to decide whether to take an umbrella with you this evening, you will be interested to calculate the probability that it rains this evening. And so from the frequentist point of view, the conventional point of view, you could calculate how many times it rained in Madrid on September 27th in the last 100 years. But I have no doubt that all of you will also have a look of how is the weather now. So you will have a prior probability, which will be useful to decide whether to take an umbrella this evening. Of course, being in Madrid, being September will help you, but also having a prior will help you as well in making your decision whether to take an umbrella this evening. The same happens for clinical decisions, for clinical studies. The last thing I want to stress is that, for example, with current statistics, if you have a new drug which may have worked in a frequent tumor which has similarities with a rare tumor, for example, biological similarities, you have this new drug which already proved effective in a frequent tumor and you want to test it in a rare tumor, the statistician will ask you a given amount of patients based on how it can prove that a difference is statistically significant within the study. If you will go to the same statistician saying to him, okay, I want to prove whether fresh water works in this tumor, he will ask you the same number of patients. So the plausibility of the hypothesis doesn't matter in current medical frequentist statistics. Under a Bayesian approach, you would use the prior probability. The prior probability that the drug, which was already proven effective in a similar disease, would be higher than the prior probability that fresh water works in that disease. So clearly, the number of patients will be required for the clinical study, will be lower in the first case, will be higher in the second case. So there are some paragraphs in the consensus paper about Bayesian statistics, Bayesian approaches, especially to combine all available pieces of evidence in the interest of rare cancer patients.